Let's look at how Aura connects to different MCP servers. So today I'm just going to use Aura in a standalone mode on my laptop. And because it's a new project, I'm just going to run Aura init. And this is just to define the initial LLM provider. I use Anthropic. I already have an API key in my environment, and we'll just use the default model. Now this generates a configuration file with 3 basic workers defined. We have an incident responder, log analyst, and a metrics analyst. But there's no MCP server connected. So let's use MCP add, and we'll set up Mezmo. All it requires is a service API key, and I'm just going to paste that here, and then it's going to get written to a .env file in my local directory. And now we can see here what's going to be added to the configuration. So I'll say yes. And now we're going to scope the tools that are provided by the MCP server to the different workers in the environment. So I don't want to scope any of these tools to my incident responder, but I do want to scope them to the log analyst and the metrics analyst. We'll do a quick restart of Aura. And now we can see the MCP server is connected. We're also going to add the GitHub MCP server, which is going to require some custom configuration. Now I want to name it, and we're going to use HTTP streamable. I'm going to add the server URL, and GitHub uses Authorization Bearer. I already have the personal access token set up in my environment, so I'm just going to use that. And once it connects with the token, it discovered 47 tools, and it gives me the configuration that it's going to add. So I'm going to write that configuration out. And then because I don't have any workers defined that would make use of this MCP server yet, I'm just going to say no to all 3 of my existing workers. So the last MCP server that I'm going to add, it's another custom one, and it's going to be a Grafana instance. And I'm going to use the standard IO transport because I'm actually running this on Docker Desktop with the MCP Toolkit. So all I do is copy paste in the command provided, and it's going to do its validation. And you can see there was 73 tools discovered. And I'm going to add this one to my configuration as well. And with Grafana, I'm actually going to give all my workers access to all of the tools provided by the Grafana MCP. So let's restart Aura again. And now I have all 3 MCP servers configured. So my next steps here would be to describe the GitHub worker for use cases like identifying recent deployments or maybe accessing a runbook repo. But we'll do that in another video. Let's look at the config TOML that was generated. I can see my system prompts here. You can see our 3 MCP servers are here. And then underneath that, each of our workers are defined. Here's our incident responder, our metrics analyst, and our logs analyst. And then within each of these configs, you can see each of the tools that were identified are now added to the different MCP filters for each of these workers. So Aura has been tested with a number of different tools and platforms, but really because you have full control over the prompt for every worker, any MCP server is going to work for you. If you go into our docs, you'll see details on each of the different transports. We have HTTP streamable, SSE, and standard IO. And lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about workers. You can do a lot with them. If you look at the Kubernetes SRE orchestrated multi-model example, this is a great reference to understand how you would connect different MCP servers up, and then how you would create custom workers to use these tools, and then also customize the prompt so the worker knows what its job is and what tools to add.